is Channel 2 Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome back into the Women in Business Radio Show studio. Well, I'm Sian Murphy and normally my lovely co-host Adelle Martin would also be here with me. But Adelle is stuck in traffic, having messaged me early this morning telling me to basically get out of bed and get down here because there was a lot of trouble on the M20. We've got Operation Stack in place, which for those of you who don't live in Kent or in fact don't live in the UK won't know what Operation Stack is. It's this wonderful system where when we have any problems at the Channel ports, they stack every single lorry that's ever sort of driven around Britain, going backwards and forwards, on the M20, which is one of our major motorways. And everything in the county of Kent sort of grinds to a halt. So that's the situation we're at the moment. So I took Adelle's advice. And Adelle, I know she's listening at the moment because she's in the car and she's listening. I did take Adelle's advice. I got out of bed and I got down here. And here I am. Unfortunately, Adelle is still stuck in traffic. So I'm not going to be smug at all. Unfortunately, our guest for the first half of the show is also stuck in traffic. Hopefully she's going to be here soon. That's Michele Yianni from Future Insight. So she's on her way and we're going to be talking about all sorts of things, probably about money and getting your act together, because Michele she runs her own accountancy firm and also sort of deals with business and business progress and all sorts of things. Really anything that you need to do about the numbers and making a business grow, that's what Michele does. And we are also, this is our first day, it's not boding well, is it? The first day of our brand new formula, where we now have a 2-hour show, and we're going to be focusing in the second half of the show with guests, people and news from other parts of the globe. And we're starting off the show, and how else would we start it? By welcoming back the wonderful Toccara Nicole from Chicago. And we'll be hearing from Toccara. Well, hopefully, I have asked her to see if she can come in a little bit earlier. But of course it's seriously early over there. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, so that might be a little bit unfair of me. So I'm afraid for the next sort of 40 minutes or so, until we manage to get Adelle and hopefully our guest in the studio, it's just going to sort of be me pontificating, giving you a little bit of news and then sort of padding it out with records. So I'm ever so sorry, folks. But let me give you a little bit of news about the Women in Business radio show. So some of you may not know that we turn this show, we record it live, and we then turn it into a podcast. And we host that podcast up on Spreaker. And if anybody wants to know how to do that, please just tweet us on Wib Radio Live or send us a message on Facebook. And we'll give you all the links for that and show you how to do it. And we are just about to hit the 50,000 downloads mark, which is really good. I think that's quite an achievement. I'm quite happy with that. So we're just looking to grow on that now. So thank you very much to Spreaker for helping us do that. And what other news have we got? Of course, we are going to be hosting the Women in Business Big Show, which is now on the 25th of August, 2022. It's at Longfield. It's at Longfield Academy, which is a super, super building. It's a big building. We have parking for hundreds and hundreds of cars. And it's very close to Ebbsfleet, which means it's only 15, 20 minutes by train down from St Pancras. And if you're driving down, as I say, we have loads of parking. So if you'd like to find out more about exhibiting or attending, you can once again tweet the show and we will get all of the information over to you. So I'm going to head over now. I'm going to play another record. I'm going to gather my thoughts a bit. First of all, I'm going to work out how I actually get another record on. Because, of course, without the lovely Adelle in the studio today to help me poke the buttons, I'm a little bit lost, but she's on her way. So I'm going to play a record and I'm going to come back with a few thoughts, some things that have been happening today in the women in business world in the UK. I'll catch up with you shortly. Hello and welcome back into the studio. And I'm really relieved to tell you that Michele Yianni from Future Insight has arrived in the studio. So Adelle is still on her way. Goodness knows where she is. I think she's disappeared into the depths, the wilds of Lenham. But I'm really pleased to have somebody here to help me to talk to me on the show. And I'm sure you're really pleased as well, because it was all getting a little bit waffly, wasn't it? So welcome, Michele.
Thank you.
I feel like I need to give you a couple of minutes just to get, take a breath, settle down.
Excellent, thank you.
So I tell you what I'll do. I'm just going to, while Michele sort of gets herself settled down and takes a breath, I'm just going to just raise a thought. Some of the things that I've been dealing with this week with some of the exhibitors that I work with, some of the women in business that I work with. And I'm not going to reach any conclusions. I'm just going to raise a few ideas. And that's about sort of being put upon and feeling that with members of families that we don't have an awful lot of choice as to how much care we provide for them. And for I think this lands a lot on women. I may be wrong there, so guys, I hope I'm not doing you a disservice. But it's women that I've been having the conversations with, where they feel as though they're being pulled in different directions, where there may be constant telephone calls from elderly parents, always being asked to look after grandchildren, and that there really isn't an awful lot of time left for themselves. And you know, we're at my age, and a lot of the women that I deal with, we're sort of between 50 and 70, are growing our own businesses, running our own businesses, and really sort of trying to do things perhaps a little bit differently and for ourselves. And sort of constantly being pulled, and being made to feel guilty. If you can be made to feel guilty, let's just say feeling guilty. So I was just sort of raising the idea that actually it is okay to do your own thing, that you can care without being totally consumed and subsumed within what somebody else wants you to do, and that there doesn't have to be this guilt imposed. You are entitled to have your own life, and that perhaps the time is to start setting boundaries, and setting those boundaries and telling other people that you have set those boundaries, and that really is okay to do. So I'm just putting that out there, that you can set a boundary, you can tell other people what those boundaries are. But I'm going to another concept as well, is that sometimes you don't actually need to tell anybody what those boundaries are. You only need to set them and then stick by them yourselves. So if you are being constantly phoned by somebody, well, guess what? We didn't have mobile phones like this 20 years ago. You wouldn't have been constantly phoned. If you're at work or you're running your business, somebody wouldn't have been able to constantly phone you on the mobile every time you even went to the toilet. So turn it off. Have it on answer phone. Put something else in place just in case there is an emergency. And I have to say, if somebody can ring you, they can probably ring the ambulance. That may sound hard, and perhaps I'll start getting nasty stuff coming in. But 20 years ago, we didn't have these mobile phones. We weren't constantly at somebody else's beck and call. So set those boundaries, and it is okay to do your own thing. That's my thought. I had another one, but I can't for the life of me find it. Hang on a minute. I'm just going to have a little rumble around on my pieces of paper. No, I think that'll be it. I think what we're going to do, Michele is looking really relaxed now. She looks like she's settled in. Okay.
I have.
I tell you what, let's go for it. Welcome. Well, it's back to the show, isn't it?
It is. Thank you very much for having me again, Sean.
Welcome back to the show. Well, it was such a brilliant show last time you were in, and there was so much really sort of solid information that I thought we've just got to get you back.
Okay.
So if you can just spend just a few minutes giving people a little bit of your background and what you do now and who you work with, so that we can. Sounds horrible. I'd like to pigeonhole you.
Oh,
I'd like to. I think it's really useful for people to know who you are and what you do and who you do it with, so that we can sort of gauge where you're at, and any information and advice that you give, we're able to put it into a context. So fire away.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm from Future Insight Consultancy, and we are an accounts practice based at Chislehurst, although we are moving office as of next week to Sidcup, High Street. So not too far away. Our team have grown, we've expanded, and we've now got 8 members in the team, and it was started off with just me 3 years ago. So I had to expand that. I like doing a lot of things for women in progress. Basically, I'm currently looking to join as an ambassador of the Institute of Association of Bookkeepers. so I can support women who want to go into a bookkeeping career. So I find that, quite useful, not just obviously women, but men as well. But you usually find that 75% of bookkeepers are women, which is an interesting thought.
What? Any idea why?
No, it's become a much more flexible career now, being a bookkeeper.
Oh, okay.
So you could work in between your family. So as you were saying about boundaries with family, you can also work, the hours to suit you now, because there's all different types of businesses in the UK that just need somebody to do their books a couple of hours a week or a month or a few days a week, so to speak. And it fits in nicely with commitments around your family.
Can you just explain the difference as you, in terms of how you use bookkeepers, between a bookkeeper and an accountant? Because I think a lot of people sometimes get quite confused between either as a career, or what they're buying as a service. I think sometimes people get bookkeeping services and think they're accountants.
Right. Okay.
And vice versa. They sometimes ask their accountant to do their bookkeeping, which may not necessarily be the best way.
It's not cost efficient. It's not cost efficient.
So tell us the difference between the two.
Okay, so a bookkeeper, a qualified bookkeeper up to level 4, say, with any of the institutes like the ICB, the IAB, or even AAT, the technician qualification. Basically, a bookkeeper can do anything from micro accounts to sole traders' tax returns. And they can also just do the bookkeeping. So you get some bookkeepers that go up to trial balance, and you've got some bookkeepers that can do the management accounts for you within the firm or within your company. Now, so that's practically where bookkeepers lie. They can't go anywhere. They can't touch accounts that are SMEs because of the legislation, and we're governed by an accounting body that we have to work with, FRSs, which are basically what they are is sort of like the accounting board will give you information and legislations that you have to be guided by. And an accountant will do anything related to taxation, corporation tax, capital gains tax, some touch on research and development, tax reliefs, and probably do an audit on your accounts, so they become accountants and auditors. The qualifications are very different. The ACCA, for instance, can take up to 10 years to qualify. You can do it in 4 years, being a chartered accountant.
So if a bookkeeper basically literally keeps the books, they keep a tally of what's coming in and what's going out, so
that's
that
right.
you know
the day-to-day tasks
on a day-to-day thing, basically how much money you've got.
Mm-hmm.
The accountant looks perhaps a little bit beyond that.
Yeah,
deals
planning.
with the legislation.
Yeah.
Deals with the taxation, the planning, and all of that sort of thing that goes in with it. All of the trickier stuff that, would it be fair to say, needs a judgment and knowledge behind it.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying to be a bookkeeper you don't need to have knowledge.
Absolutely.
But it's a lot more in the moment, isn't it?
Exactly.
You're recording what's coming in and what's going out in that moment. You're not necessarily looking forwards and saying, okay, we may have a little bit of a problem here, or this is going particularly well,
Absolutely.
or this is making a lot of profit and this actually is making a loss.
Yeah.
It's literally in and out.
That's right. And also the VAT returns as well.
Yeah.
So preparing for that. The accountant won't necessarily do the VAT returns for you.
Yeah.
It would be the bookkeeper.
Oh.
Interestingly enough. Yeah, most bookkeepers are qualified to do the VAT returns.
I did not know that.
Absolutely.
Mind, and to be fair, I don't actually know who does my VAT returns. When I say I don't know who does them, I sort of know where they are. I know what company they are, and I know where they are. But I don't know who does it in there. So it could be the bookkeeper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
and then the accountant overlooking the VAT return, just in case it's related to the sector of import-export, those sort of things, which are a bit more stringent with.
I think accounts is something that people find quite... I think it's either boring or intimidating.
Yeah, Sometimes it has that cliche. That's what I thought when I first started out in accounting. But actually, I really enjoy it. I like the aspect of seeing different companies and seeing them grow. And
okay, so I think perhaps we need to do a little bit of clarification around this, because I think really where you're coming from. And the reason I'm delving a little bit into this is because I think it's really, really important when you're actually picking an accountant. Mm-hmm. And potentially also if you're considering becoming an accountant, perhaps, or a bookkeeper.
Yep.
Heading into that direction. Because what I'm hearing is that it's not so much about numbers, although you have to have the numbers, but it's more about direction and strategy, and it's that that's actually making it a lot more exciting. Yes, you have to have the numbers, you have to know what's coming in and out.
Yeah.
But as an accountant, your role with supporting a business is not about those numbers in and out. Somebody else can do those numbers in and out. You have to know what they are as an accountant, but you're helping that business grow.
Absolutely.
And use the information that those numbers is giving you.
Yeah, so we do strategic planning, budgets and forecasts to help where they want to be in 5 years' time. Because everyone that sets up their business, they don't want a business that's just going to last a year. They see the future of growing that business into, 5-10 years upwards. So it's basically using the support of the accountant to give you that information to help you.
Do you think that's the case for all businesses, or is this a time to distinguish between perhaps a lifestyle business?
Yeah.
Where my understanding of a lifestyle business is you're effectively employing yourself, and that's it. You go out, you do a job, you get paid, you come back.
Yep.
And you continue like that until such time as you stop.
Yep.
And then there isn't a business.
Okay.
It's ended.
Yes.
All you're doing is exactly the same as being employed. You're maintaining your lifestyle all the time that you're doing it, and then you stop doing it and you retire.
Yep.
As opposed to a business where you hopefully reach a point where the day-to-day running of the business starts to happen without you being there. Mm-hmm. And you're potentially looking at growing an entity where you have potentially an exit plan, maybe to sell it or to hand it on. Or it may well be that you effectively sort of retire and stop doing so much work, but the business still continues and still pays you a salary and dividends, even though you may well have stopped doing the day-to-day work around it. Does that sound about right?
It does sound about right. I mean, take family businesses, for instance, that have gone through generations. And, they've done it, like you say, mainly like a lifestyle sort of company, and then they might hand it down to a family member
who doesn't want it.
Yeah. True.
Who wants to be a doctor?
Or you get somebody to manage it for you so that you're still on the board. You're still on the board of your company, and there's a manager in place, and you've delegated that team. So you've got a team in place, a really good team to help you, so that you're still getting a little income to it.
I think that's a really important thing, I can't think of another word, to start out with. When you decide that you're not going to be employed, or you're never going to be employed, and that you're going to do your own thing, either running a business or being self-employed, that you make a decision what it is that you want to create, even if you change later. Absolutely. So it may well be if you decide to be, a social media marketer, and you're going to do everything yourself, and at some point you may well start to bring in a team where you don't do everything yourself, where you have different account managers. But at least when you're starting out, you have an idea of what it is and where it's going and what you want.
Exactly. But then you need the support of an accountant to get you there as well.
I think we often forget that, because I see so many businesses who start off and they don't have an accountant, and they think they can do it themselves. And in theory, you sort of can't you? You
can, of course you can. Absolutely. It's just, it's how much you want of the accountant's time, really, or what your future plans will be. It's down to the individual.
Yes, and I think if you have serious plans to grow, and if you have plans to not be doing all of the work yourself, you are going to have to get in an accountant, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think, am I right in thinking that in the UK, if you have a limited company, those returns have to be submitted by an accountant? Have I got that right or wrong?
Right, they can be submitted by the accountant, but the company accounts to Companies House could be done by the director because they're the ones that are signing it. But I'd say the corporation tax, the CT600, should be done by an accountant just because of all the legislation around tax. And, there might be some relief that you are entitled to that you don't know about.
That you're not getting. And really, it's about sort of building this in. I think this is a key expense, actually. And I think it's about just building it into what you're doing before you get going. Mm-hmm. And I think it's more important than having an office most of the time.
Absolutely.
If there's just you can probably manage with your laptop in a cafe or wherever.
Absolutely. There's lots of workspaces around, isn't there?
Yeah, there are different ways of doing it, and I think an accountant and I see it so often where people get the office space and they don't have an accountant, and really it should be the other way around, shouldn't it? Yes. Yeah. Unless if you're starting off with a big team and you need an office, you're going to have an accountant. You're not going to be able to manage that yourself. So if there's just you, do you really need an office? Don't you? And if you can only afford one or the other, don't you need the accountant more than the office?
Absolutely.
I think you probably do.
Most successful businesses have started around a kitchen or dining room table. Yeah. So, and then grown and expanded. So you've got to really look at your costs first.
But you do need to have, my belief is you have to have that accountant.
Yeah.
Now, let's have a look at some of the things where sometimes people get it perhaps wrong or confused around their accounts. What are the key numbers? And I know that we're international as well, but I think there are key numbers that it doesn't matter where you're running your business, you need to know these things, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're talking about your turnover.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely. It's, everybody could have amazing turnover. They could have like 2.5 million or upwards.
Millions of losing
money. And the gross profit could be quite good. It could be 600,000. But then at the end, you got your net profit. Your net profit says that you're minus 2,000.
So let's put some explanations on that. Turnover is literally everything that's coming in, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's going to be your sales.
Yeah, but anything that's coming in, all the invoices you issue, all the sales that you make, that's your turnover.
That's exactly it. Right. So basically, invoices, income that comes in. Yeah, it depends on what the type of company is.
And very often it can look quite good, can't it? And also I think the other thing is very often it's if you're applying for loans or grants or even awards, very often the criteria for entering or getting or applying will be your turnover.
Absolutely.
And yet it's largely meaningless, isn't it?
Yeah. When you think about it, is that really how my business is doing? Because the turnover's great, but then you've got to think about all the costs that go against that and also all your overheads.
So the next term that you mentioned was gross profit. So what is your gross profit?
So gross profit is when you've got your income and your sales, less any of your cost of sales. And cost of sales are things like products, if you're selling products, services, or marketing team, because marketing team usually ends up in overheads, which it shouldn't really, because you needed your marketing and sales team in order to get the product or the sale of the service. So everything there, stock in and out, and that will be your gross profit basically. And forgot to mention other direct costs. So labour costs and things like that. You might use subcontractors to help you.
So if you're selling a can of beans.
Yeah.
Let's say you're selling a can of beans. What the costs associated with that would be the price that you paid for the beans.
Exactly.
Any marketing around selling the beans.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
But am I right in thinking it wouldn't include the cost of the shop if you were selling them from a shop? Would that be your overheads?
Absolutely.
And so is it overheads where we get down to your net profit?
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. So what's in your net profit? That's your shop.
Okay. So your shop's in your net profit. Staff have got to run your shop. So they're going to be your overheads. Administrators, and electricity, utility bills.
What about petrol? So that would be, I'm assuming you don't go and buy one tin of beans and then come back.
No, absolutely not. Now, if you are going to buy the product, it could be just before gross profit, because you need incorporated that expense. If you do carriage and things like that, you get delivery into your shop to get those products in. So, or if you go, like you say, get fuel, sometimes that would also be classed as going to get the product. So that would be before GP. But if it was travel and you were just going, I don't know, to a conference, or if you're going to meet a client or somebody like that, then that would go into travel expenses within your overheads.
So we can say turnover is everything that's coming in.
Yeah.
Your gross profit is where you take off everything that relates directly to the product. So basically, if you didn't sell that product, you wouldn't spend that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you didn't sell beans, you wouldn't have to buy beans at wholesale. And then the net profit is everything that's left that you have to pay for. It doesn't matter whether you sell that tin of beans or not. You still have to pay for the car. You still have to pay for the shop.
Exactly.
You still have to pay for your office or your telephone or whatever it is that you're using.
Absolutely.
And sorry, go on.
When you mentioned car, I was going to say, if the car is owned by the business, then it actually is an asset. And
okay. So you see, this is just showing off now.
No.
This is why you need an accountant. But I'm thinking now from the point of view of everybody perhaps trying to work out without their accountant actually sort of what it is they need to be looking at.
The components where everything goes.
Account. I think that's really, really useful because I see very often, I do see people talking about turnover and it means nothing. Yeah. Does it? Because Absolutely. If you sell your beans for 40, I'm not very good at maths, but if you sell your beans for 40p and you paid 39p for it, and your office and everything else, the component of that, the equivalent on that tin of beans is like 2p, you're actually losing money every time you sell a can, aren't you?
Exactly. Absolutely. That's, the turnover, like I say, less all the expenses and overheads could bring you down into a loss.
So those are basically, so your turnover is something that goes over the whole of the company. It's absolutely everything in, out. It's everything in, regardless of what you're doing. Your gross profit, you would look at per product almost, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Or per service.
Yes.
You might even be a recruitment consultant and you'll need to put in those sort of charges up there too.
So, and then your net profit or your overheads are everything that you need to get yourself there and run the thing. So I think that's a really nice way of organising things. So if you're sat there and just planning a business, you're not at the stage of getting an accountant yet, and you're thinking, well, okay, what am I going to be offering? Yeah. What am I going to be? You may not necessarily know what your turnover is at the moment, but you could sit there and go, well, okay, I'm going to offer this. I'm going to offer these 3 services. Yeah. These are how much they're going to cost me to deliver. Yeah. That's that. And then go yes, I do need an office. I do need an accountant. I am going to need somebody to answer the phone. Oh, and I'm going to need a phone. Yeah. Usually mobile phone. Yeah. So I think that's a really nice way to structure your plans, isn't it? Absolutely. Okay, well that's my lesson out the way. We can go. Obviously the balance sheet's another thing. Yes. What is a balance sheet? Tell us what a balance sheet is. Okay, so your balance sheet it's including assets, and assets are things like you've got fixed assets, which is like basically you might buy furniture for your office. So basically anything that you've bought that you could sell? No. No. Ooh. No. An asset, a fixed asset is non-sellable it is owned just purely by the company. So the company might own the car, company might own the office furniture. So why couldn't you sell it? Why because an asset to me sounds like it has... You could... I mean, I'm not saying that you couldn't sell it, but the whole thing of buying an asset in is so that you use it long term. And then, obviously, it depreciates, meaning that depreciation is when, over time, this product will depreciate in value. Yeah, so you would do a depreciation. And you could dispose of it. Now, dispose is a bit like you say, you could sell that product or the asset, but... With the disposal, it's really because you've used the product first. So it could be that you're moving offices and there's furniture that you don't need to take to your next office. You want to dispose of it.
So, and then you would get a little profit on that asset if there was one, or loss.
I think we've gone into accountancy land.
Yeah, we have. Sorry.
See, this is why you need an accountant. Okay. Let's have a look at some of the questions that have come in around you and around what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that you're often asked is, what makes your business model unique to other service providers? So I'd be really interested to know that. Why? Because I don't want to be too offensive here, but very often we assume that an accountant is an accountant is an accountant.
Yeah.
But clearly it's not, is it? So why is what you do different?
Okay, so yes, we're an accounting practice, but we also provide financial management too. And financial management and consultancy is where we actually can go in and be a director or financial controller for a bigger organisation that needs somebody to go in there and help with their existing accounting department.
So basically you can go in as sort of outsourced financial director.
Absolutely.
For somebody who perhaps can't afford to have a director, a salaried director.
That's exactly it.
On the books.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Yes.
And a director in the UK, a director has legal responsibilities.
Absolutely.
On them, don't they? So you can effectively go in, take on those legal responsibilities as part of that business.
That's correct.
And provide the director level support that a business may need, potentially at, when I say a fraction of the price, you're doing it for the amount of time that they need. So if the business is of a size where they need a director perhaps in the office or attending for 1 day a week,
that's right,
you can do that.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. At the moment, I do 2 days a month for one particular company because they don't need me any more than that. So that's kind of an example of that. So
it's a really, really good way of getting that level of expertise and responsibility into your business without employing a director full time, which is an expensive thing to do, isn't it?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, directors are on 100 grand plus a salary a year.
I think that's a critical point. That, because I think a lot of businesses, when they're at the point where they want to grow, I think having that expertise and responsibility, or not being able to afford it, is a real drawback.
Absolutely.
So what you're saying is that there is a part-time, if you like, a
financial controller, finance director, exactly.
And does it also, because I mean, a director is still an employee, aren't they?
Yes.
And employees potentially come with a lot of trouble, don't they? A lot of HR responsibilities and all of that sort of thing. So would that type of directorship where you're going in on an outsourced basis, does it come without all of the responsibilities that go with employing somebody?
Absolutely. So basically, we would invoice on behalf of Future Insight Consultancy for consultancy to home. So
if say the business concerned decided that they didn't like you, I don't want horribly.
No, that's true.
But they decide, actually, do you know, this person's a pain in the bum.
Yeah.
And they're not doing what they're supposed to do. The sorts of things that we sometimes just get with employees, it doesn't matter. It just happens, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And then, you know, it's not working. They're not motivated or whatever it is.
Not clicking with the team.
Yeah, instead of having to worry about, I need to go and motivate this person. Actually, don't think, if you're not motivated, I tell you what, if you're not motivated to work here, that's fine. You can go and we'll get somebody in that is. Exactly. You don't have to go through all of the HR, all of the human resources.
Absolutely.
I wanted to call it shenanigans, and I think that might be wrong. all of the human resources carry on. You can just say, thank you very much, this isn't working.
And off you go, because we're a service provider at the end of the day.
So, I mean, it's an excellent solution, isn't it? It's an excellent growth solution.
Yeah,
to take you on to the next stage. And it may well be at some point as a business you do want to bring in that director.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to just say hello to Adelle. who I did point out earlier, she's just come in, actually sent me a message at stupid o'clock this morning. Could go, did you know that there's a big hold up on the M20? Oh dear, said me. Oh dearie me. So I got here And Adelle, she's looking very sheepish, I have to say, has just arrived in the office. So do you need to be caught up, dear? I suppose you do, don't you? Yeah.
I was listening to you when I was coming down.
I brought you some notes. Look, there's some notes. There, look. Excuse us a moment, will you? Okay, so I'm just going to catch you up. This is, in case you hadn't noticed, the first day of our of our new, I've forgotten what I called it now, our new formula, our new show. Our show, the Women in Business radio show, is now 2 hours long. So you can imagine how I felt sat here on my on my Todd. Because those of you who know me will know I am not a speaker. I'm an interviewer. I interview people. I'm not a speaker. I'm not particularly good at it. And I need to have people here to bounce off. And who did I have? Nobody. Do you know what I've been doing? I've been playing a record and having a bit of a waffle. So we have got Toccara. Toccara is phoning in from Chicago at midday. And we are, in fact, I'm going to just check the phone. We're such professionals here, aren't we? She's going to be calling in at 12. And we're going to be talking with Toccara about taking action, because that is her, I can't remember, hang on a minute. You see, a normal radio show host would have sorted all of this out beforehand, wouldn't they? Hang on a minute, not on Facebook notes. Hang on a minute. Yes. Take action is her theme for this year. Have you got a theme for the year?
I have.
Stronger.
Yeah.
Have you got a theme for the year?
I've got lots of things.
I've got a word, actually. And when I first mentioned this, I sort of saw people looking at me thinking I was getting a bit above myself, maybe. I've got some news for them. Because my word for the year is power.
Very good.
And that doesn't mean power crazed or horrible. And it was quite interesting to me how when I said this, there were certain people who clearly took it in that sort of context and looked at me as, oh, that's not nice, is it? Well, you can be powerful without being horrible. You can be powerful without being nasty. You can be powerful without taking over. You can have an internal power.
Of course.
That is just nice and controlled. But I thought it was interesting that that word to me was something that was for me. That power was for me. It didn't mean I had to slap. I didn't have to slap anybody. I didn't have to become even more obnoxious than perhaps some people clearly think I am already. It would, for me, it was actually quite a quiet, strong word. And there were some people who I think were a bit affronted by it.
Their interpretation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
They'll get over it, won't they?
Absolutely.
So Toccara's theme for the year is take action. So I think that'll be a really interesting discussion, and I'm hoping Michele is going to stay.
Yeah, sure.
And to take part in that. We haven't spoken to Toccara for quite some time, so it's really nice to get her back. And it seemed like the good thing to do is we're going into having a second hour and focusing a little bit more sort of globally, that we bring Toccara in.
If we think about even where we are going into the next quarter, things are starting to open up, so it's a good time to think about taking action.
Yeah. I take lots of action. I'm always taking action. I never stop. I just don't get anything done effectively.
That's it.
So I'm hoping that Toccara will have some sort of solution.
Oh, answers.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Anyway, look, we've got another 10 minutes before we welcome Toccara. So let's get back on to... let's have a look at some of your books and tools and things like that, because we haven't done that at the moment. We haven't done that so far this week, have we? On account of everybody's been stuck in the traffic apart from me, who left early and put her sat-nav on. Don't worry, Adele, I won't mention it beyond Christmas. By January, I will have forgotten about it. It will have worn thin. I won't worry. Don't worry.
As soon as you went live, I was listening to you. 2 hours in the car.
Yeah.
Wow. I know, it's crazy.
Well, of course, if you'd have left earlier and put your sat nav on, it might not have happened. Okay. So, I did actually come all the way around the back streets, around some seriously small things. Anyway, favourite tools, favourite books, book of the week. No, I've forgotten. Book of the week, tool of the week. Okay, I think we're going to start off with Michele because she's already got some. So, your book recommendation, fire away. Can you remember what it was? Oh, for goodness sake. Honestly, do I have to tell you what your recommended book is? The Secret.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, so I've gone past The Secret. I've got Money Secret now. I've gone on to the new book about money.
Is it by the same lady?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's really interesting about how to abundance of money into your life and how to feel differently about money. It kind of reminds me that it doesn't matter where you go in life. It kind of has the philosophy that you'll always be, I don't know, you'll have
what you need.
What you need. That's exactly the word. Yeah.
Not what you want.
Not what you want, but enough.
But what you need.
Yeah. But then you've got to have that good approach to it, which I always believe. I've been reading lots and lots and lots of money books because I'm not very good at money. Okay.
I'm just not. I love doing things. I love doing what I do. I love all of that. I like talking to people. I like running the events. I love doing all of that. Rest of it, really not that bothered about. But we sort of have to be. You just have to be.
Yeah.
And so recently I've been reading quite a lot of books on money, and I can't remember any of them, but there's loads of them out there. I'll put a list out on Twitter or something.
Absolutely.
And so it seems to me like everybody is sort of already with this concept that money is actually a really, really tricky thing, isn't it? It's a bit like going on a diet because we have to eat.
Absolutely.
You have to eat and you have to drink, and you can't just sort of go, well, I'm going to abstain from that. I'm just going to stop. I'm going to go cold turkey because you can't. And money's the same. I think a lot of people, yes, they can manage to go cold turkey and go live in a yurt. I'm afraid, but I thought about that. But how am I going to get a manicure? How's that going to happen? It's not, is it? I am not a woman to be living in a yurt in the forest. So you need to have a level of money.
Of course.
Everybody does. And yet I think so many people have a thing about it because it attaches to so many of our personal values, doesn't it? And our worth and all of that sort of thing.
Absolutely. You've got to make a plan. This is my accountant head.
Yeah.
You've got to make a plan of what money you need and how you're going to get it. And what you're going to do to achieve it.
Sounds easy, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
But if you go step by step, it makes it easier.
I'm going to ask you a personal question.
Okay.
Now. Okay.
Oh, no. Oh,
no. This is my show. I get to do this. Having said I never put anybody on the spot or ask them anything embarrassing, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
So you're reading the money version of The Secret.
Yes.
Is that because you want to help your clients or you want to help yourself?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, both. I want to encourage my clients. So encouragement is one of my big words this year.
Encourage money? Did you say encourage?
Yeah, encouragement into how they
encouragement.
How they can get, how can they get money. And I found it useful for myself as well because I'm getting married in July. And I was like, oh, my God, the expense, everything. Maybe the accountant, but when it comes to a wedding, it's all the expenses you've got to think about. And so I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get there? What am I going to do? So I found this book very useful.
And is it, because you didn't write that down here, obviously, is it Rhonda Byrne?
Yeah.
Yeah, so same
and there's
lady.
other people in there as well. So
yeah, okay,
it's more emphasis. When you read The Secret, it has a little bit about money.
Yeah,
but this is about how to attract money, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because I do have a belief that there is enough money in the world.
Of course, there is.
I genuinely believe that there is enough money, and I have always been okay. I have always had enough for what I need to do. Yeah. And that's just the way I feel. It's just never enough. It's just always just enough.
Exactly, but it's just enough.
Yeah.
For what you need. So if you say this is what you need,
it sort of is. But I think if you're not careful, and this is what I find, is that you can create a drama, and you can be doing a lot of stuff around money and stuff. Yeah. When actually you should really be doing something else. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, people get in a ruck about.
Yeah, you there's an awful lot of admin that you can create around it. There's an awful lot of worry that you can create around it. Exactly. There's an awful lot of stuff that you have to do if you don't have enough of it.
Absolutely.
And that if you have more, it may well be that you can employ somebody, for instance, to clean your house, which employs somebody, gets your house cleaned, so that you can go and do something that is not within, that is in your area of expertise. Cleaning the house is not in my area. I'm useless at it.
No, me either.
Yeah, so there comes a point where you have enough, but if you had more, you would be able to achieve more where you're supposed to be achieving it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you're investing and taking that small risk, like hiring someone, you think, oh, have I got enough? Sometimes you're able to find it.
Yeah.
It works like that. It's just bizarre how it works.
It's like it's the edge, and then you're right. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite extraordinary. And I sometimes think that whoever, sometimes use a lack of money as an excuse for not getting stuff done.
Yeah.
You know, I'll have to go and clean the house because guess what? There isn't enough money to pay somebody to do it. Well, there could be enough money to pay somebody to do it if things were organised differently. But
Absolutely.
Then guess what? You'd have to do the scary thing.
Yeah, that's it. That's taking the risk.
Yeah. Because I tell you what, pushing a Henry round the lounge while the TV's on. Do you know I can sort of manage that? Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Putting it in, booking your speaker schedule and getting out there and doing that and launching a new product.
That's it.
I think default is probably pushing Henry. If you're in the States and you don't know, Henry is a Hoover that we have over. He has little eyes.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
So yes, and I think that's sometimes one of the things that happens. You know, if there was enough money to get everybody else to do that, which employs people, it's really helpful. It helps other people. There are people who love doing
Absolutely.
that. If there was enough money to get people to do that, goodness me, what would you have to go and do? You'd have to go and do the scary stuff, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
There's a thought. I think what we're going to do in a moment, we're going to just finish off with our books and tools, and then we're going to play a record, and that's going to be a nice little, can I say segue? Am I allowed to say that word? I said all sorts of words this morning I wasn't supposed to say, and I've played all sorts of naff songs I'm not normally allowed to play. So we've got the book. Have you got a book?
I have, and that's Donald Kerr, which is the story brand. And again, it's a different way of looking at marketing.
Didn't you have that 3 weeks ago?
No, it's the second version.
Oh, okay.
The last one was business. This one is marketing and message, which is good.
Okay, I'm not going to have a book. We are going to play a record. Now, we are going to get Toccara Steele into the studio. She says famous last words. It's going to happen. I have every faith. We're going to close down this part of the show, and we'll see you all very shortly.
Welcome to the Women in Business radio show with Sian Murphy, connecting women in business around the globe.
Hello and welcome back into the Women in Business Radio Show studio. We are here for our second hour. It's the first week of the rest of our lives where we have a second hour. And I've got my fingers crossed. I've got everything crossed. That on the phones, phoning in from Chicago, we have Toccara. Toccara, are you there?
I am here.
Yes!
Happy afternoon to you ladies. It is 6:03 in the morning here, so happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you. I'll tell you what, we nearly all of us didn't make it. Well, I made it, actually.
One more, you can have one more.
I made it. Adele rang me this morning. Well, she sent me a message on Facebook this morning. I said, you better leave early because Operation Stack's going on the M20. Operation Stack, for our US listeners or anybody around the world who's listening in, is something unique to Kent in the UK, where when there's a problem at the port, we basically stack all of the lorries up on the major motorway that goes through the county. What a plan.
Lovely.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a plan. We turn our major road into a car park.
Absolutely.
For lorries. Isn't that stunning?
Yeah.
So, Operation Stack.
Oh, my God.
It has a name as well. It happens quite often, so we all know what it is. It's called Operation Stack, which says it all, really. Stack them up. So Operation Stack is, operating. And I, of course, got here on time because I left and used my sat-nav. And Adele didn't. I've promised I won't mention this again.
Time.
The last as soon as Christmas ends, I'm not. As soon as Christmas is over and we're into the new year, I'm not going to mention it again. So, Toccara, back from Chicago, how are you? It's so good to have you back.
Wow. It is. I was looking at the tool that I utilize to call internationally, and it's been a whole year since we've been connected. So I'm so excited to be here for so many reasons. I know here it's 41 outside right now. It's supposed to be a rainy day in Chicago,
degrees?
but I will take the rain. Yes, 41 degrees Fahrenheit. I will take that over snow because it tried to snow last week, and I'm like, no way. So,
hang on. I'm confused. 41 sounds hot.
Yes.
And snow sounds.
41 is not hot. No, 41 is like it's okay. I mean, because 30 in the 30s it's snowing, so 41. 50s is nice and warm. Okay, right.
So
we're right in between there.
Got you. 41 over here is like we're dead. It's so hot.
Right.
We're cooking steaks on the. I nearly said sidewalks, but we don't have those. We're cooking steaks on the pavements. I mean, it's really seriously hot. Okay, so it's chilly.
Yes, and yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And rainy.
Oh dear. Oh dear, we're just coming out of spring here, so we've just sort of had spring, so we're just getting a little bit warmer now.
I love it.
We're all worried about our heating bills, though, because they've all gone up by 50%. So...
Oh, no!
I know, isn't that... Yeah, anyway, never mind, let's not dwell on it.
Okay.
It was another... I tell you what, it's a similar sort of thing to Operation Stack. Let's pile all the lorries up. Well, anyway, they've just put all the heating bills up. All the power, all the energy bills have gone up by 50%. Petrol is through the roof.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Love the UK.
We're having fun. We're having fun, but never mind. It is what it is. So, Toccara, your theme for the year is take action, isn't it?
It is, and OMG, it's been an exciting year. I seek God every the last quarter of each year and just asking what's the words for the next year or the word for next year. So last year it was to be excited and collaboration. And so I built a lot of collaborations last year. And this year the word is take action. And I totally understand why. A lot of times we sit on ourselves and these ideas that we have in notebooks or in our phones and, you know, a sticky note on a computer or whatever way that we brain dump. And these ideas, concepts, are movements. You know, they're things that need to be birthed and created. And so I have been busy this first quarter, super excited about everything that I'm taking action to accomplish and bringing a tribe with me. You know, it's not just me and what I'm doing, the collaborations that I've built last year and those people that God has me connecting with this year. it's amazing. I mean, it's so in alignment with what I'm doing. It's mind-blowing at times. It's really a blessing to understand who you are. And then when you take action, I was explaining to my mom last week, it's like pushing that one domino and all the other dominoes falling in place.
So have you set goals?
Yeah. And she got it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a brilliant concept, isn't it? Have you set goals for the year?
Now you know that's my middle name.
I know. But I had to ask just in case. You never know.
Yes, absolutely, I have, and I'm on track with them. And it's funny you say that because I was so inspired to inspire other people, and that's a lot of what I do on my Facebook page. And I made a post because I realized that my Q1, I am definitely on track to doubling my business. So it's interesting. So every year that I've been in business, I've doubled my income. And so I'm on track to do it again this year. And so it's really exciting when you really see the numbers. The numbers can be very intimidating, but they also are drivers. They're the data, so you can really unlock elements within your business and take action. So I'm excited.
What you may not know, because I'm just a terrible host, actually, awful, is I just rock up and off we go. I don't think, actually, it would be nice if I introduced these two people. What you might not know is that our other guest in the studio today is an accountant. She has a team. It's not just her. She has an accountancy business, an accountancy firm. She has a team of accountants. Also is and what we'd call, I think, an outsourced financial director. So she's very much on numbers and helping businesses grow. And what you can't see, because this is radio and you're on the phone, is that as you're talking, she's shaking her, not shaking her head, she's nodding her head and very much agreeing and sort of impressed by the fact that you're doubling your business, you're doubling your income.
Mm-hmm. It's been a stretch, and you know what? To be honest, at first I wasn't paying attention to the numbers. And I wasn't. And God was like, go look at your numbers. You know how you get that nudge. And I believe in God or whatever anybody believes in. But I felt that nudge to go and look at my numbers. And I wanted to crap in my pants. Literally, I couldn't believe that the work that I was doing.
So, hang on a minute. Did she say cacking her pants?
She did.
I did. And I did, and I meant it, because I was like, holy cow, full-time entrepreneurship is a journey. People don't tell you what you're getting into when you leap and do it. And so it doesn't come with a manual.
Yeah.
So, and then you hear so many things. So it can be a scary journey. But I tell people, listen, you want to be free? Start your business.
I tell you what, I absolutely, my power word for this, my word for this year is power. And I firmly believe, for me, it's all about doing your own thing. So that's my hashtag, is doing your own thing. And I don't believe you can do that unless you run your own business. I think you can. You can. I can't. I think you can be employed and do your own thing as long as you have that right mindset, that where you're okay to walk away. Yeah. Where you're ready to walk. Yes. But if you're not ready to walk, or explain where you've been, or when you're going to take your holiday, or when you're going to do whatever, or how many times you've been to the toilet in an hour,
that part.
I am not employable. I don't think, the only way I think you can do your own thing and be totally free is to have your own business. At the same time, it's the scariest thing in the world, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
Oh my God.
Yeah, we were having that discussion. Literally, that's why I'm nodding. We had that discussion yesterday afternoon. I was talking to some women, was in a small networking group, and they were saying, the amount of people, again, who try to tell you how to run your business. And I said, I've just spent 32 years in corporate being told what to do. I don't come out into this world and listen to other business coaches who don't know me or my way, trying to tell me what to do. I said, no. For the first time in my life, I can say no and walk away. Yeah. And that feels really empowering. And these women were going, so you say no to these other business coaches? Yeah, I'm not interested. But again, I couldn't do that in corporate. I couldn't have walked out that boardroom. I was paid to stay there and take it. I don't have to do that anymore.
I tell you what, I was talking to somebody yesterday who's just left a very, very well-known international networking group that I never joined because I thought I hadn't heard anything as ghastly in my life ever as having to turn up on a Friday, regardless of whether I wanted to be there or not, and send somebody else along if I didn't, and give them certain numbers of leads and this sort of thing. And to me, that's abhorrent. That's why I'm not in business so that I have to be told and I'm going to appear somewhere and what I'm going to eat when I get there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's okay to set those it's boundaries again, isn't it? It's okay to say, no, actually, sorry, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah. I totally agree.
I do not like that. No. I stopped going to sausage breakfasts. Do you know? Sorry. Toccara, you probably don't know what I mean like that. I don't know. I dare say there is networking over there which sort of goes on at 6 a.m. and people stand up and say what they do for 60 seconds and then sit back down again. And the breakfast is served.
Wow.
And over here it's bacon, eggs and sausage.
Okay.
Okay. No, I was going to say I don't like to eat sausage that early in the morning. I don't think you can say that sort of thing on radio.
Yeah. I was just...
Well, that part, you know, we're gonna move on.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I just don't want to do it. No. But when I first went into business, everybody was at these networking events. I dragged myself along, even though I can barely speak before 10, and really, really I've hated it. Really hated it.
Wow.
So I stopped doing it, and guess what? I'm still here.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll stop doing it. It's fine. Absolutely fine.
Anyway, we're waffling on. Taking action.
Yeah.
Take action.
Yes.
So, Toccara, I tell you what, there's one thing I would like to talk about first, which is not just taking action, because I'm great at this. I'll be upfront. I can take any amount of action you like, and I can do it all day and most of the night as well, actually. But none of it is any use. Okay? I really want to distinguish between taking action that makes the boat go faster, taking action that actually has an impact, and just taking action to keep busy. So busy work. Stuff that doesn't have to be done or doesn't have to be done by me, but there is a really good way of actually procrastinating and putting off, and it's a brilliant way of kidding yourself that you're really busy, you're doing loads of stuff, but actually what you're doing is avoiding doing the scary stuff. So go.
Exactly. You nailed it. You nailed it. I mean, I wish I could give you a virtual high five or a real high five, but I mean, you nailed it. A lot of times, I'll be honest, when I had to take the leap of faith, it'll be 3 years in September that I'll be in full-time entrepreneurship, and 5 years in September. Wow, God planned that out. I didn't even realize that. Now I'm saying it. 5 years in September, I'll be in entrepreneur, just period, business owner, launching out and creating my own LLC. And so one of the things I was thinking about this morning as I was laying in bed, I was just thinking about how entrepreneurship is such a journey, and working a 9-to-5 and operating and executing someone else's dream, when you shift to make your own dreams happen, it's a whole entire mind shift. It's a whole entire detox. And so that was one of my biggest struggles when I started my full-time entrepreneurship journey. And so, creating a schedule, utilizing systems and tools to keep me in alignment. And so one of the biggest things was unlearning things to learn new things so I can really be productive. And one of the things I don't say that I'm busy, because busy is an illusion that a lot of people, I'm busy. Like, what are you doing? Like, what is the outcome? And so one of the things that I've learned to say is that I am productive, which means that I spend my time creating tools or, systems that are income producing. And I have to tell myself, if it's not income producing or it's not in alignment with what I'm doing, don't do it. And so for instance, my business partner and I last year started a program here in the States called Dream Scribers. Now, it's been 2 years in the making, but we actually pulled the trigger last year, and it's been successful. And it's a program where we teach and produce authors from the youth population as well as the incarcerated population. And it's a program that we've created that we've gotten sponsorship around where it doesn't cost the participants anything. And so, you know, that's more of a service, right? But it's in alignment with everything I do. So we have to be very mindful of the opportunities that come our way. If it's going to take us away from taking action within our own business, we have to respectfully decline. And my favorite is, thank you so much, but I have to respectfully decline that offer. It's saying, heck no, respectfully. You know, because I know if I take on this project, am I passionate about it? You know, I do these self-reflection questions. And growing up in my household, you know, you talk to yourself, you're crazy. And I'm like, now that I'm older, I talk to myself, I'm wise. Because I got to talk myself out of doing something that's not productive or in alignment with my vision and my identity as an entrepreneur. And it's okay to ask yourself these questions.
And it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
I think...
Oh, my God, yeah. When boundary. It's the biggest B word there is.
Yeah.
When we start out, you know, sort of saying yes to everything that comes along, thinking it's an opportunity, or if you miss out this time, it won't come back, or feeling flattered because you've been asked, you know, is something that I'm not sure. I think there's a process that we have to go through to learn to say when to say no, and that it's okay to say no. And to be, I think the biggest thing is being able to recognise what is and is not a genuine opportunity, and what is and what is not right for us. I think that's really hard. And when I look at everything that I agreed to do in the early stages of my business, that I look back now and I think, why?
Yeah,
why
exactly.
why did I say yes to? I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I think I had to do that, and I think potentially at some point we have to go through that process of understanding what it is we are doing and what we're not doing. And I think it either happen, you know, it could happen when you're employed, it could happen before you've even, you know, you may not work at all. You may not be working as such, but I still think you have to go through that learning curve of what am I doing, who am I doing it with, and actually this isn't right.
Yeah, and to me, again, so I'm going into year 3, so I was just writing the years down there. So that first year is you think you know the problem you're trying to fix, you go in and you have more time than a side hustle, then you realise actually it's probably not quite right, so you do that refinement. So for me, again, I was talking yesterday, for me it's that 6 monthly review in that cycle. And then once I get to the end of the 6 months, yes, I'm there. I go, well, actually, anything going forward, I will just say no. But in the beginning, I would take all the yeses to get some, you know, to be on a Facebook group live or something. But actually, as my business has grown, I've grown in confidence. Yeah. And I'm now turning down more speaking events than I'm accepting. But I wouldn't have done that 2 years ago. Right. For me, that's that growth of my business cycle and personal cycle together. And that's the bit that I've sort of now realised is 3 years in, I'm along. But again, what I've had to learn to do is to stop and reflect how far I've come, because I'm always on about the next thing and the next thing. By taking that 6 month step back and say, actually, that's what I've achieved. Is it where I'm going? Yes, no. And that way, when I do get offers, it's an easy yes or an easy no, because there's no decision tree, because if it's not on the plan, it doesn't. It's a no. It's a hell no. And that's what I've learned.
Brilliant.
You know,
that's good.
Yeah,
I love it. A hell no.
and mine, which I learnt the hard way, is that, and we're going to go around everybody in a moment, actually. The one that I learnt the hard way is I will collaborate with people, but I will never, ever compromise my brand. I am totally 100% in control. Yep. I don't set up stuff with other people. I just don't. I work with other people, but on my own terms. And that may sound, people may not like that. Well, tough. I can't help that. It's my choice. And I learnt that the very, very hard way, actually. The very, very hard way.
Yeah.
It's my way or no
Sean,
way.
you said something. But you said something, Sean, that's really powerful, because I know for me, and I can only speak to me, that was one of the biggest things that I struggled with was, understanding no is no and getting over it and not allowing feelings and emotions to waver on the decision that you've made saying no. And listening to you, you're like, no is no, da-da-da. But I'm like, man, I wish people could, understand that out the box, because one thing I had to learn in full-time entrepreneurship is, buckle y'all seatbelts for what I'm getting ready to say, is that I had to do a deep dive and heal the little girl in me so I can properly function as an entrepreneur. And here's what I mean. My rejection issues, my abandonment issues were starting to rise up in my business. So, for example, someone's scheduled to, be on a call with me and they don't show up. No call, no show. I was looking at myself, well, what's wrong with me? And all these, why is me, based on the little girl in me that wasn't healed from my abandonment issues. And I was bringing that baggage into my entrepreneurship journey. And, like I said earlier, a lot of times we are not given here's the rule book of being an entrepreneur. Go ahead and, go for it. Take notes and pass it on to the next entrepreneur once you get it. Yay. No.
You see, I think the thing is, and you've just hit the nail on the head, really. I think initially we still have a need as people. It's a bit playground mentality, isn't it? Yeah. We still have a need to connect and collaborate because we want to feel like we belong. Yeah, exactly. We belong, we're wanted and we're loved. Yeah. And I think there's a journey that you have to go through at some point. Whenever that happens, you have to go through it at some point where until you reach the point where you're able to say, actually, I don't belong in that tribe. I am not that group. I'm so sorry, but that is not me. Yeah. This is what I do. And I know exactly what I do, and I'm not doing your stuff. Yeah. And it took me a long time to reach that point. And I am often asked, will I take over this group? Or will I run this group? It works alongside this other group here, and this is what it is. And probably 5-6 years ago, I would have gone, oh, what an opportunity. Absolutely. I can take on somebody else's group and I can work with that. Now I go, actually, is it my group? Is it my group? Does it have my branding? Does it run according to my values? Absolutely. Is it mine? Are these my people? Hey, no, then it's not. No. Thank you so much for thinking of me, but no. Yeah.
I agree. The main thing.
Because you lose the need to, I think you have to lose the need to want to belong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do. I agree. And I think that's taken me, do you know what? And it's funny, I'm nodding. That's why this year my word is stronger to 52, because I'm 52 this year, and that's that decision to make. Actually, I'm stronger on my own.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And that's it. And do you know what though? Since I made that decision and I've come out, the women that I'm attracting and the connections, do you know what? They're great. They are good because I've made that decision. That's what I'm going to be, and the people will gravitate to me or they won't. And the people that I'm connecting with are really good, strong clients and connections, and I can honestly say I'm okay with that. That's good.
The day that things turned around for me was when I accepted and acknowledged that I am the boss. Yeah. I have business partners, one of them is my husband, but I am the boss.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah, that's where you got to be.
The buck stops with me. There we go. So I think what we're talking about here actually comes back to the theme of taking action. Yeah. Because you're not waiting for anybody else. No. Are you there, Toccara?
I am definitely here. And you know what? It's interesting that you say that. And one of the things that I am working on, and I haven't announced it officially, but I'm starting my own. Yeah, I'm starting my own Roku channel. And I'm really excited about it because I can control the programming that goes on my channel. And with that, do you guys have Roku in the UK? You guys have Roku in the UK, right?
Say it again?
Roku? No, I've not heard of it.
No.
Like internet TV? You guys have never heard of it?
No.
Yeah, so here in the States, it's like super big. And so it's basically like having your own network on a cable station, but it's mine. And so I'm able to put, who I want to put on there and things of that nature. And it's been a leap. But with me having my live stream show, it turning 4 years old actually last month, and we're starting it back up tonight. One of the things I said is I want to have my own channel to be able to, have my shows on. And so took a leap of faith and done that. Major announcements are going to be coming out within the next couple of weeks around how other people can be on the network. But one of the things that I'm learning is if you don't like what's out here, listen, put your big girl panties on and deal with yourself.
and do your own thing.
Yeah.
And what I love about that is, I'm lucky here. I'm saying something I don't agree with, but I'm saying I'm lucky because at Channel Radio I am able to do my own thing as long as I abide by the broadcasting rules, which are in the UK. Then I can do my own thing. I don't have to answer to anybody, and I think that is the key to in many respects of taking action. I don't have to answer to anybody.
Yeah.
The buck stops with me. If I want to do something, I can do it. I don't have to ask somebody's permission. I may ask somebody's advice.
Absolutely.
But that's very different. But I don't have to ask anybody's permission because I'm the boss.
Yeah.
And I love what you're about to do, Toccara. It's somewhere that I still do want to go with a publishing house, where creating something for women in business who are perhaps not in a position to publish themselves because they're not, what's that terrible word, influencers.
Yeah.
Or they haven't published before, or they haven't been on TV, or they don't have all of that stuff behind them, all of that experience behind them. But not having any experience doesn't mean that you don't know your stuff and that you don't have stuff to contribute. And I'd love to have... It's a publishing empire, actually.
Brilliant. Well done.
Let's stop mucking about. Yeah. It's a publishing empire. Of course, I'm going to need more than me just to do that, aren't I? So, I mean, you really are taking action, aren't you?
Listen, I have my own publishing company. It's my consulting and publishing company. Go for it. It's so rewarding. I love the fact that I can hear someone's, story and be able to take it and expound it. I can't share everything that's going on within this year yet because it's in the development stages. But I have my first play that someone wants me to publish, and that's been a part of the journey. And so I got a new client yesterday where I'm publishing her book in English and in Spanish, and it's a children's book at that.
Oh,
so,
wow.
You really have to take... I know, right? It's just opportunities because I'm taking action. And that's what I'm learning. When you take action, the reaction comes and you can literally build what it is that's before you, because when you take one step, it's being reciprocated and helping you to build. And it's blowing my mind. Like, I'm going to be honest. I don't know how I'm sleeping lately because I'm so excited to get up in the morning.
Love it.
I wake up now like about 3:30, 4 o'clock-ish. And like last night I went to bed at probably like a little bit after 1. I was uploading a book for a client. Wow. And then we were back and forth talking. I live in Chicago. She lives in Vegas. And it's her first book. And so she's super excited. And then I passed out. The only thing that makes me sleep these days, oh my God, rain music. I have to tell my Alexa device to play my rain music. Alexa, stop! Don't do it. I'm sorry. Because she was getting ready to play it, and that's how I fall asleep. So it's literally I have to make myself sleep these days because I'm so enthralled in everything that I'm doing. Like, I'm excited. Yeah. And Sean, I've told you this before. People ask me all the time, "Are you on meds? Like, what are you on?" Because you're always high and happy, and It's passion. It's purpose.
Yeah.
It will make you leap and happy, and you feel like you are Mary Poppins singing in the rain every day.
But I'm going to dive in here and actually put another side to that, because I think it can take a while before you get to that point. And I think there are some times when you have to keep going through some really boring, demotivating stuff.
Yeah.
And that you have to take action in that direction as well. And I think it can take a while sometimes to get to the, hey, I'm really excited and this is brilliant, and I'm really motivated and energized and I've got tons of energy. And I wouldn't want people to think that if they're not feeling that, if they're not feeling like that, that they need to give up because they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
It's taken you a while to get to that. Is that fair?
A whole while.
Yeah.
Very fair, but it's the persistence. It's the goal setting. It's the tribe that I have around me. Don't give up. This is just the season. It's the words that I speak to myself. It's the affirmations. It's the books that I'm reading. You have to motivate yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you see where you're going, you're going to fall. You got to get back up. It's those moments. And, it's taken me a while to get here. However, I'm here because of persistence and not giving up and self-talk. I talk to myself a whole lot. What was I doing? My man and I were doing something the other day, and we were on a Zoom, and I'm just talking and talking. He's like, so this is what you do when I'm not around? I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm getting it done, right? And,
I'll tell you what,
up.
it could be a lot worse.
It could be a whole lot worse. And so it's those moments where, you want to give up, and they're real. And I'm very, I've learned to be very real with sitting with my feelings. Not too long, but long enough for me to feel them and then shift. And be like, okay, and ask myself those difficult questions. Why am I feeling like this? What's discouraged me? What's maybe triggered me that I haven't dealt with? All these questions. And people look at me like, you ask yourself those questions? I'm like, I got a place to get to, baby. Yeah, I'm asking myself.
I tell you what I love about that is I've got a bit of a thing at the moment. I am sick to death of positive talking. I am just sick to death of it, because I think it's doing so much damage. I hear people going, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not being positive. It's the truth. If you're not happy about something, if you don't enjoy doing something, if you're discouraged about something, if you're scared, that is actually the truth. And I'm so sorry, no amount of affirmations or lying or pretending it's any different is actually going to make it any different. Sitting down and going, why am I feeling like this, acknowledges that you are in fact feeling like this, and is a way to move forward. You're not kidding yourself. You're acknowledging the truth.
Absolutely.
You're acknowledging the truth and looking at a way to actually overcome the truth, apart from trying to pretend it's not happening, because it is happening.
It is. You have to listen, acknowledge, deal with it, move on, take action.
So let's talk a bit, Toccara, about goal setting, because you can only take effective action when you actually have something effective to do. And I think from the discussions that I've had with you over the years, it is years, isn't it? Good heavens.
4 years.
I know.
4.
I know. It is, isn't it? Oh, dearie me. That's.
I know. It doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't, does it?
Wow.
It's really weird, because sometimes it actually feels like it's a lot longer. I feel like I've known you forever. And then other times it's like it's really quick. But
I know.
I know that one thing you are really good at, and I'm actually not very good at this, so I'm just picking your brains here, okay? So everybody else can just go home. It's just like my one-to-one session now. I know that you are really good at goal setting. I know that you set effective goals and you take action. So tell us a little bit about your process for setting goals.
Absolutely. The first thing that I do is I get in an environment that is mine. Meaning I'm not at my mom's house or my grandma's house. I'm not in the library. Like, I sit in my own environment because 9 times out of 10, that's where the goals are going to be accomplished, within my own environment. I'm really big on that. It sounds kind of weird, but we set the tone in our homes. We set the tone in our office, wherever our productive places are. And what I'm really learning as I dive into this thing called goal setting even more, I'm very realistic. I don't put something on paper just to make me feel good and make my emotions rise, because that literally can have a downfall later on when you don't accomplish the goal and it's on paper and you see it and it can make you feel some type of way. So I'm still very old school, and I'm looking at my calendars right now. I go online and I print a calendar out for each venture that I'm working on. And I put dates to certain things that I really want to accomplish. And then I share them with somebody that can keep me accountable. Let me say this. Everyone that says they're going to keep you accountable, they don't. So just be prepared for that. But finding people that can, or setting reminders around you to keep yourself accountable. Now, if this was a live stream show, I would show you guys my wall. It's nothing but words, positive words, either scriptures of the Bible.
Can you send us a picture of it?
Yeah, I can. And when I tell you, it looks crazy, and it's so funny. It's my crazy because it makes sense to me. The way that my laptop is set up and then my monitor, I literally have words all around me, whether it's a thank you card that someone has sent me, telling me how proud they are of me, how much of a blessing I am. It's on those days that I'm reminded of other words that other people have spoken into my life when I feel like I can't get over this hump. When I set this goal and it looks like it's so big that it's not moving anywhere, I have words around me to reaffirm the path that I'm on. And that's really big when you're goal setting, because goal setting is way beyond you. If you're setting a goal that you can accomplish everything within a month, is it really a goal? Or is it something just to cross off your to-do list?
Yeah.
Goals are supposed to be like puzzle pieces. And so, even with what I'm building that I wish I could share, but I can't share right now until.
We'll get you back. Don't you worry.
Yeah. But it's all in alignment. It's all goals that I've been setting over the years. That's now the straight path. And so we have to be very intentional with the words that we speak over our lives. Words are seeds, even when they're written on a piece of paper in the process of achieving a goal. And so I'm very intentional with words, and I'm very intentional on how I speak to myself while I'm in the goal-setting process.
Toccara, can you tell me how many projects have you got on the go?
Oh, my God. So, really? You're going to make me write them out.
See?
I'll talk about the one I can't talk about. I'll talk about the one I can't talk about.
No, only numbers. I don't need a list.
So the one.
I don't need names, just numbers.
3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So you've got 5 projects on the go. Does each one of those projects, do they have one goal each, or do they have goals within them?
They have goals within them.
So you've got the 5 projects with all of the goals, and do they each have their own calendar?
Yes.
Aha.
Very good.
Yes, they each have their own calendar. And when I'm mapping things out, I look at the other ones to make sure that I'm not overlapping. I'm very strategic. And it's a process that I learned, guess what? When I used to work in my government job, because they always wanted me to hit a stupid deadline for some reason. And I'm like, get off my back, man. Like, it's going to get done. But sometimes we don't realize that those moments help us within our entrepreneurial journey. So that has helped me. And data. I got tired of, well, what's your numbers? Well, what are your numbers? What are these numbers doing for me? And so I I didn't realize that, but now I realize that the numbers matter. Data is the driver to setting goals. And one more thing, and then I digress. My man and I were sitting here. He was working on a pitch contest because he's a full-time entrepreneur as well. And so we got to the financial projections part of it. Hi, babe, just in case you're watching or listening, rather, because I know he'll listen to this later. One of the things that we sat and talked about was like the financial projections. And we got stuck for a minute, and then I heard God very clearly, it's just goal setting, then you're adding data and numbers. And so when I got that, I was flowing, and he was like, whoa, so we were able to connect those dots. So you just have to be intentional. You know what I say all the time, Sean, is a lot of times we don't want to sit with ourselves long enough, you know, in a quiet environment and have to hear some of these thoughts in order for us to create these goals. And I challenge everybody, put brainwave music on while you're setting goals. Something that's going to keep your attention. But goals are necessary to be successful in life. They really are.
And, you know, what you said, just sitting with yourself, I think we spend a lot of time, once again, with the positive thinking. Sometimes it's all going to be wonderful. Sometimes it's just not all going to be wonderful. And one of the things I like to look at when I'm setting a goal is, how could this go wrong? What could derail it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And absolutely.
And to acknowledge
you're not realistic.
Yeah.
And to
you got to be real.
And to acknowledge that sometimes it could be something else that derails it, that's beyond my control. Other times it could be me that derails it. And the other thing
Say that again, Sean.
Other times it could be me that derails it. So I look at perhaps what fears are there around achieving this. So if I get this, so say I set a goal just randomly to get another 100 clients. But what are the fears around getting all that many more clients? What about if our performance dropped? Yeah. What about if we missed emails? What if what if our communication started to suffer? Yeah. What could actually happen if we get that goal? Is there stuff that's going to stop it being a success that needs to be acknowledged?
Can I help you?
Yeah. We're gone.
Let me help you.
Go on.
The word I don't use, the word I do not use is if. If automatically plants a seed in your head that there's an option for you not to get to that goal.
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah, no, and my one.
I don't use that word.
Okay.
I get that. Mine is try. If somebody says to me, if I'm working with somebody and I go, okay, so this is what we've agreed, you're going to do this, and this. They go, yeah, I'm going to try and get that done. I know, it is not going to happen. Yeah. Just, and I go, no, okay. And sometimes I'll be quite rude. Sometimes I'll use a rude word, something off. I know it is not going to happen. That they are not on board and they are not going to make that, they are not going to bring that into reality. And I'll call them out on it and say, look, okay, it's not going to happen. Yeah. It's not going to happen. So now what are we going to do about this?
And that's the reality. We need more people that are going to check us on our, I was going to say something else, on our stuff. I need a checker. And my guy has been my checker. And when I say I'm going to do something, and he's like, so, babe, what's going on with da-da-da-da? And now that this is my year of taking action, I can successfully be like, well, da-da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, oh. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, no, I wouldn't want to live with that. I know. I'd be forever on duty. I wouldn't want my accountability partner in the same house.
We're not yet, so it works very well. We're not yet. We'll see what happens when we are.
Yeah, I tell you do not want that person in bed with you. I'm telling you now.
I agree.
It's time when it's time to read a crappy book. Yeah. Okay, you don't want somebody next door going to. So have you done that performance review?
Oh my word.
I've lost track of where we were. We were on the goals, weren't we? So 5 projects. Realistic.
Yes, 5.
Sit with yourself.
Yes.
Sit with yourself.
Yes.
Get your pen and I'm a great believer in journaling. Get your pen and paper out. Write down all your crap. Write down everything. So where did we get to? What's the next step on the goals? We've got it all on a calendar.
Do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All on a calendar. You know what else I do? I don't commit to anything unless I've checked my calendar. It's because here's the thing. It has to be in alignment with what I'm doing, and if it's going to derail me from accomplishing that goal by the time that I said I'm going to do it, that's when I say I respectfully decline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We have to set those boundaries even in goal setting. And you know, my mom's B word is budget. She hates that word. She loves to spend, and she's like, "Well, you only gotta live once."
Wow.
Yeah, I can't be around her too long because one of my favorite words is budget. So we hit heads. But boundaries, we have to learn how to set them. It's so important for us to set boundaries within our entrepreneur walk and our personal walk in order to achieve goals. And it's okay if you don't miss the goal. I mean, if you miss the goal, but you have to be realistic with why did I miss it?
Exactly.
What came up that I missed it? And then say, okay, I'm going to learn from this lesson, and I'm going to learn from this lesson by doing da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
How can I hit it this time?
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
How can I hit it this time?
Yes.
I'm a great believer in questions as well, asking the right question.
Yeah.
So how can I hit it next time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because how can I hit
I
it?
used to run from questions.
How can I hit it? Moves you forwards.
Yeah.
Why did I miss it?
Oh my God.
Keeps you back.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. All of that.
Wow.
And so we say, oh, well, you know, some people say, oh, I missed it, and then they're on to the next thing. No, I'm like, oh, I missed this. Hold on. Oh, this is how I talk to myself. Hold on, girl. Hold on. What's going on? Why did you miss this? You know, sit down with yourself. And it's important that we do that. And like I can't iterate that enough. You have to be willing to sit down with yourself and evaluate yourself, because the world is already hard on us, especially as women.
Yeah.
We need to be able to talk to self and understand our triggers, our greatest assets, all of that. Because this world, they want to tear us down.
Yeah, that's true.
So you got to lift yourself up.
And I've got to build on that, actually, because, yes, I sit back and go, why I didn't hit it, but I also sit back and go, why did I hit it? Because sometimes then there's some learning. Otherwise, you know, and it comes back to my history of banking. The team used to come to me and say, you know, there's an error, so we made a loss on that. Or if the markets were going in the right way, we made an error, but it was a profit, so we ignore it. I said, no. I want to know why we made the mistake or why we hit something, whether we did it or we didn't, because there may be some lessons. I hit that because of X, Y, and Z, and I can take that forward. So sometimes, again, I always make sure that if I do hit a goal, how did I hit that, as well as if I didn't. Otherwise, sometimes you might miss something. But I learned that the hard way. Again, in corporate, I learned that the hard way in banking as well.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting from this also is taking on board what you've just said, Adele, and everything that we've been talking about here, is that taking action, and I'm terrible at this, that very often for me, taking action is ticking something off a to-do list. But that actually taking action can be sitting down and thinking and writing. There is nothing to tick off unless you write down sitting and thinking. But
putting that in the diary as well. Again, I was having a call with somebody yesterday, and they said, "Oh, I'm putting that in the diary, but I'm thinking about like next month's strategy. But should I be coaching?" I went, "No. That's the work you've got to do, because if you're just literally going from week to week coaching, you have to put that in your diary and not feel guilty that is strategic time you need in your diary." But again, it's that mindset of busy. And I said, no, I block time out for strategic thinking. Otherwise, I just wouldn't know where I'm going.
Exactly.
you have to stop and think.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
And that is taking action.
Otherwise, you'll miss the goalpost.
Yeah. Or not even have a post.
Exactly.
I'm terrible at that. So think I'm trying to look where we got. I think we have gone round in a really nice circle there on taking action. I think we've drawn out some really good conclusions, and I'm wondering, is there anything that that we've missed? I'm struggling here.
No.
So this is my first 2-hour show. I didn't think it was possible, but I'm getting tired. My brain my brain's starting to flop. So taking action, but taking action that counts.
Yeah.
Learning how to say no.
Mm-hmm. That's what I find most difficult.
Learning how to say no if it doesn't align with the goals that you've set.
Yeah.
I love the calendar. So having a calendar for each project with the goals in there. So what do you put? Do you put the goals or the actions in the calendar, Toccara?
You really want to know?
I do. Yeah, I do. That's
I put what I want to accomplish by when, and then I also have like a piece of paper that follows up with the date of what I want to do. Yeah. And so I create those plans of what it is that I need to do in order to do this by this date. And it's really neat. It's really neat because writing it out makes you see it. You're reminded of it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the part that's so important because we live these productive lives, and so we have to be intentional about these goals and writing them out. You have to see it. And you place the goals where you can see them, please. That's the other thing.
Yes.
Don't put it in a notebook somewhere that you don't use often at all, and then, here you are, 2 months later, I forgot I wrote these down. No, don't do that to yourself.
Yeah,
done that,
and move them around as well. So don't just stick them on a wall, because after a while your brain gets used to them being there.
Yeah.
So perhaps to schedule time to actually look at them, make sure they're there, and that you've got them in your head.
I've got them in a picture frame, because then it's easier to move them.
That's a really good idea.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I love that.
It's easy to move them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think we've...
That's amazing.
I think we've done some good work today here, folks. I think goal setting is something that people find difficult.
Yeah.
I don't think it's always. I think people sometimes expect to find it easy. Yeah. Because everybody, they just throw it around, don't they? It's, I'll set some goals, and they're not that easy to set. They're quite easy to set, actually. They're quite easy to set, and then they're quite easy to lose and forget about and get wrong and get discouraged. Yeah. I think it's quite difficult to set them and follow through in a way that gets what you want.
And checking in on them, and every week or every month, I just check the numbers. Am I going in the right direction? And it's just having that consistency. But it's that showing up, isn't it, every single day to do it.
I need to say a great big thank you to Toccara for coming on and sharing all of her knowledge, everything that she's achieved, and just being on the show. It's so lovely. I tell you what, I feel vibrant just having you on. And now that we've got the second half, and it makes it a little bit more hospitable, is that a word? Yeah. It's a better time. It's a better time. Hopefully we'll be able to connect with you a lot more than we've been able to over the past few years, because I thank you so much, Toccara. I have really, really had a wonderful time. Welcome. Now, just before we let you go, can you tell us how can people connect with you?
Yes. So I am the identity architect. That's what I call myself. I help Christian female entrepreneurs live, unlock, and rediscover their purpose. And so you can connect with me. I'm going to give you my new website that will be live tomorrow. It's called yourauthor'sauthority.com. And so it's all things authorship and teaching people how to own your authority as an author, so helping them to take authorship and shift it into entrepreneurship. Brilliant. And so that's one of the major projects that I have going on with my book camps. I have a retreat coming up with the one and only amazing, just in case she is listening, Kay Monique, the Possibility Powerhouse. Now, Sean, that's someone you would love to have on your show. She is dynamic in all that she does.
Why don't you introduce us? That is the Possibility
what was it? Possibility Powerhouse.
The Possibility Powerhouse.
Oh.
Yes. And so, yes. And
That would be
I'm excited.
that would be great. Connect us. I'd love to have her on the show. Perhaps you can come on with her. I'm not sure how do we do that actually. I'm thinking technically. How will we manage that? But no, we'll worry about that another time. Toccara, thank you so much. I'm going to say goodbye to you now.
You're welcome.
We also want to say goodbye to Michele Yianni.
Thank you.
How can people contact you, Michele?
Yeah, just go to my website, which is www.futureinsight.eu.
And of course, we've got Adele. I'm Sian. We'll be back next week. Yes. We're going to have to go now because we're running out of time. And I'm sure we're going to be seeing more of Michele. We will see you all soon. Take care. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Oh. Welcome to the Women in Business radio show with Sian Murphy, connecting women in business around the globe.